Hi, my name is Steve Nielsen. I'm here with Rod Schweigert and Mike Nielsen. I'm here to represent the Nielsen boys from West Point, Nebraska.
My name is Rod Schweigert. I'm a tax accountant up in Norfolk, Nebraska. And we have a saga in regards to Don Nielsen and some Berkshire Hathaway shares that pertain to an estate back in the 78, no, 80, God damn, I missed it. The date.
It's alright, we can start over, you can rewind it, can't you?
Hi, my name is Steve Nielsen. I'm here with Rod Schweigert and Mike Nielsen. I'm here to represent the Nielsen boys from West Point, Nebraska.
My name is Rod Schweigert, and I'm a tax accountant up in Norfolk, Nebraska. And I've been working on this case in regards to the Nielsen family and some Berkshire Hathaway shares for quite a few years, and have now decided to sit down and discuss this situation with whoever that wants to listen to it. The deal that we have here is we have been looking at, first of all, Don Nielsen, who back in the 70s received 50,000 shares of Berkshire Hathaway from the liquidation as a partner of the partnerships of Berkshire Hathaway at that time. Of course, that wasn't the name of the corporation, but it was, he received 50,000 shares of the Berkshire Hathaway upon liquidation of the partnerships. In 1973, he got about another 100,000 shares, and I believe, and in 1974, since it worked so well with what they did in the prior year, he got another 50,000 shares. It appears that what they were doing was that the corporations that of National Indemnity, which is an insurance company, issued stock, and he acquired National Indemnity shares, which was a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway. Then it was transferred down through Berkshire Hathaway and then transferred into a corporation called Halfdale that they formed in 1973. That corporation, I'm going to put up here as just a rectangle showing that the name of it was H-A-T-H-D-E-L. And I'm going to put the date of 1973 here. That corporation at that point was the main trunk or main parent of Berkshire Hathaway, and they called it Halfdale Inc., but as the legal name, but Berkshire Hathaway was the DBA name. Then they turned around and would merge companies into the main company of Halfdale. And once they merged a company into Halfdale, they would turn around and receive the assets would stay in the corporation of Halfdale, and the old company name and corporate book would go dormant. And they, up to 1998, they switched the name of Berkshire Hathaway to OBH Inc. Then in 1999, they turned around and out in Delaware, where they had incorporated Halfdale, they went with OBH Inc. dormant. And at that point, they turned around and set a new corporation called NBH Inc. And that happened 1 minute after they went dormant with OBH Inc. The three individuals that were the president and the secretary and the treasurer of OBH Inc. that had the so-called stock, or the officer and director meetings were Warren Buffett, Forrest, and the last name is Krutter, and Marcus Hamburg. And those three guys had their meeting, and at that point they turned around and of course, like I said, went dormant with this corporation. In 1 minute set up this corporation, and they turned around, and the next step would have been to have a shareholders meeting. And of course they didn't have a shareholders meeting. If that would have happened under normal situations, the corporation would have been liquidated and the assets would have been transferred to the shareholders, and they would have paid approximately $8,500 a share for the value of the stock at that point, and would have been taxed on it. However, they weren't taxed on it. They simply moved the money over to, like I said, this corporation, and then they started doing their mergers again, as if there was nothing different than what they had before. Then in 2002, they turned around and switched the name of OBH Inc. back to Berkshire Hathway, which is the current corporation at this time, which is where we have the Berkshire Hathaway. Of course, the interesting part about this is the shareholder, or the officers and directors of OBH Inc. and Berkshire Hathaway on the current occupational tax reports are one of the same. Warren Buffett, Forrest, Krutter, sorry if I'm not having it right, and Marcus Hamburg. And those three guys would have been the ones that would have been the ones that made the corporation dormant, and then elected to switch the cash over, and then start doing their mergers again. And like I said, they're still the current officers and directors of OBH Inc. And they're the officers, and two of them are the directors of Berkshire Hathaway, I believe, right now. So that's what our situation is. Now, why would they have done this back in 1999? Well, there's only one very short answer for that, is they wanted the corporate book. The corporate book they got from the transfer agent, which was Equiserve, and at that point they told them that it was dormant, which is OBH Inc., and they got the corporate book, and at that point they could switch the name of Don Nielsen out of there and put into it a trust of his choosing, or whatever, as the ownership of the shares. And that's why we're at this stage of the game, which is we're trying to find out this transfer book and be able to look at that. Now, we've went ahead and sent all the documents trying to get it from Mr. Buffett or Mr. Hamburg, and of course they deny it. Might have been part of the reason is because we might have not have known about Halfdale at that point. And Halfdale was the actual corporation that we learned later, and if we would have said it was Halfdale stock, then we might have got it at that point. However, we didn't. But now we reach into the reason, another reason why this is going on, is because of the fact that over here, Mr. Buffett is giving his shares away to the foundation of Gates Foundation, but what he's doing is switching his A shares to B shares. Of course, the B shares don't have the voting power. So then we have it to Gates' Foundation, which is fine. There isn't a problem with that. Mr. Gates, right now, every Friday afternoon is acquiring, at least from the time that I've looked, from 2002 to 2006, is buying 300 shares every Friday afternoon. And of course, he's getting B shares, and we feel that what he's going to do is switch it for not Mr. Buffett's shares, but actually for Don's shares. And that's how, eventually down the road, they will switch the shares out of Don's name, and at that time, whatever happens, happens. However, at this stage, we don't know for sure. And that's what we have for our conclusion at this point.